Path of Exile Delirium League has gone from one of the worst mechanics in terms of risk and reward in Path of Exile history to one of the best, if not the absolute best, in a matter of 3 days and 2 different patches. And this was done a couple of different ways. They nerfed the monster damage drastically, decreasing the one-shot potential of a lot of these dangerous packs, and reduced the health as well, making them quite a bit easier to kill. On top of all of this, they drastically increased the rewards you can get from the Delirium mechanic now. On your third reward, you get an additional reward type, which goes up 1 level each time your first one does as well. And then every other reward after that, you get another additional reward type. So this ends up being a lot of additional rewards, and if you can stack that first number up quite high, you can get several different reward types and quite a lot of them, creating some very powerful loot explosions. This has been great, and there's a lot of new ways to farm this. I'm going to go over some of them in this video, so stick around for that. Hello Exiles, this is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and welcome to another Path of Exile video. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification to be notified of all future Path of Exile content. I've also left a link to my Discord server where we talk about Path of Exile and all sorts of other stuff, so if you want to come chill, talk with us, show us your loot, just to hang out with people, fellow Path of Exile players, click that link in the description and join the Discord server. Alright, let's get into the good stuff. With the changes to the Path of Exile Delirium mechanic, we now have a couple of additional options to generate currency very quickly, and lots of cool items as well. Scarabs, catalysts, all sorts of fun stuff. One of the ways that is very prominent to do it right now is the old method of Harbor Bridge farming. Harbor Bridge is a very long area in Act 8, and it's accessible from 2 different sides, and you can basically run it from end to end very quickly. It's got a lot of monsters to kill and thus is perfect for this mechanic. When you enter the zone from either side, the Delirium Mirror should spawn somewhere near the entrance, so you kind of just run out and find that. You go through the mirror, you do a little bit of backtracking and kill everything that you ran past, and then you just run through the zone end to end, killing things on the 3 different levels. I'll put some footage of that in the video that you can see behind now, and you'll be able to generate lots of rewards, as you'll see. I've personally gotten up to 3 chaos drop from just one of these, and it only takes a couple of minutes. So I actually think that for players that are either newer or starting a new league, this is actually faster than Blood Aqueduct or even Delve chaos recipe farming. One of the interesting things about this is you can also have various other mechanics such as strong boxes or Alva temples spawn here. And the reason why that's interesting is because with this new patch, they've also made it so that the fog stops. So if you don't know, the way the fog works is it starts out with an initial ring that moves outward, and then after a short delay, a secondary ring which will dissipate the fog will go out. And so your idea is to keep in between those 2 rings and therefore keeping in the fog. This makes areas that are kind of circular or square and not so straightforward much harder to run with this Delirium mechanic. So one of the interesting things about having the League mechanics as well is that they'll stop when you open a strongbox, when you go into an Alva temple, anything like that. This allows you to get a lot of extra monsters, even essences. Basically any previous League mechanic will stop the fog. So having these will give you extra packs and therefore extra rewards. This can be abused later when we talk about maps. So once you get to the other end of the bridge, you'll just simply want to exit to the next zone and then turn right back around, control click on the zone and start a new instance, and you can do it all over again. It's a very quick run. You can do a lot very quickly, and you'll generate a lot of rewards and currency. So this is probably the method that a lot of new players can use. It's probably, unfortunately, the method that a lot of farming bots will use. We'll see if they're able to set them up to use it. But yeah, a lot of people who are going to just want to farm a ton of currency very quickly are going to use Harbor Bridge. But there is possibly a more lucrative way to use this mechanic. Maybe not as easy, but definitely more lucrative. And that's of course with maps. You would guess that maps would be the more lucrative way to use them, of course, because it's higher tier content. But you have to be a little bit creative, because as a base, most maps are actually less rewarding than something like Blood Aqueduct or Harbor Bridge, because they are not straight through. They are, as I mentioned previously, sometimes they have a lot of dead ends, they're circular, they're not quite the way that you want them to be to stay inside that fog mechanic for as long as possible. So you will want to pick maps that are very linear. Ones that generate early that you can definitely get into that are a good example of this are Beach, which is a tier 1 map. Great way to get a lot of rewards there. Strand and Glacier. Glacier is not exactly linear, but it's very large and open, and it's easy to kind of see where the fog ring is and get ahead of it, and then go into the cave after you've cleared everything outside of the cave and go straight through. Another interesting thing I want to note about Glacier in particular is that it has the extra 6 or 8 bosses, little mini bosses that drop down. If you're in the fog, those seem to drop simulacrum splinters pretty often, and sometimes I get a few extra that way. And then the boss himself will drop 1 to 3, it seems, simulacrum splinters as well. So you can get a ton of simulacrum splinters. I've actually been averaging about 7 per map, which is a lot better than I was getting before, and this makes it so you can work your way up to that simulacrum when you do want to run it much more quickly. There's a lot of ways you can juice your maps once you get them, and of course you can upgrade your maps to be doing higher tier ones as well. So you can do a higher tier Beach or a higher tier Glacier, any of that, and that is going to help out with the level of drops as well. Maps as well do seem to have additional different kinds of loot that can drop, such as scarabs, metamorph items, lots of different splinters, Parandus coins, anything like that, and that seems to be worthwhile as well if you're going to be running these. Instead of getting some of the more generic rewards that you get in the campaign, you can start getting those, as well as the medium and small cluster jewels, which are very nice to have to put together some cool builds. So some of the things you can use to juice up your map, because the League mechanics stop the fog, you'll want a lot of them for sure. You can run your Alva missions and have a lot of extra mobs generate on the map with that. You get so many additional packs through the different incursions, and it stops the fog, so you have plenty of time to kind of regain your composure and get back onto the map. You can have scarabs, of course. They'll add League mechanics, which will stop the fog as well, and often additional packs as well. You got sextants, which are really great for adding additional packs on top of that. Of course, you can roll your map to have as high a pack size as you possibly can to make sure every pack is just teeming with monsters, and there are even a few different kinds of map mods that you want to be looking for, such as Sea Witches and beyond, of course. Even prophecies can help you out. You can get your rats or your frogs on there, or some of the tempests will add additional packs of monsters as well, and those prophecies are going to drastically increase the juice of the map, if you will, and hopefully you can get up to 8, 9, 10, maybe even more reward tiers. That means you're going to be getting just a massive amount of drops, the biggest loot explosions you've seen since running 5-way legions. It's really big. Maybe not that big, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it's huge. Those were my thoughts on the new and improved Delirium mechanic. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like or a dislike if you didn't like it. Let me know in the comment section below what kind of new strategies you've had for running these new Deliriums and what kind of drops and success you've had doing that. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel, you can hit the join button in the description below or search up Behind Eyes Gaming on Patreon and send me an extra $1 a month that way. Really helps me out. Either way, this has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and I will see you next time. Bye!